You saw the deadline come and go, and the Chiefs basically did nothing. That's the headline, plain and simple. And if you're feeling the same mix of confusion and disappointment I am, you're not alone. Over the last 18 months, we've watched this front office talk about needs, defensive line, running back depth, and when the chance to act showed up on the calendar, they sat it out. So what happened? Here's the quick version. Reports say the Chiefs were involved. They put in offers. Fourth-round bid for Breece Hall, inquiries on edge help like Jermaine Johnson and Bradley Chubb, and they were watching other teams move pieces around. But in the end, nothing landed. The Jets wouldn't bite on that fourth for Hall. Some of the defensive players who moved, Sauce Gardner, Quinton Williams, Jalen Phillips, either didn't match what Kansas City wanted or cost a contract nosedive. The Chiefs weren't ready to make, and that tells us something about the philosophy in the building. Right now, you've got two ways to read this. One, Brett Veach and the Chiefs decided to protect the roster long-term and keep cap flexibility. Two, they missed an opportunity to shore up glaring weaknesses that have shown up on tape, especially against teams like Buffalo. Both reads have merit. From the transcript and the reporting, it looked like they tried in some areas, but were unwilling to overpay for risk, especially for running backs on second contracts or pass rushers who don't fit Spagnuolo's preferred profile. Before we go deeper, if you want more straight-up Chiefs breakdowns like this, honest, no fluff, please hit subscribe and help us get to 6,000 subscribers. If you're already with us, drop a like so more fans see this. Quick question for the comments. Was it a mistake for the Chiefs to sit out the deadline? Yes or no? Tell me why. Next up, I'll walk through exactly who they were linked to, what offers were reportedly made, and why those names would have mattered, and why they still might matter in the offseason. When you look at the trade deadline rumors, it's clear the Chiefs weren't just sitting on their hands. They were working the phones. They just couldn't close a deal. Let's break down what really went on, name by name, and why each move fell apart before it could help Kansas City. First up, Breece Hall. A ton of Chiefs fans, maybe even you, were pulling for this one. Reports say Kansas City actually made an offer, a fourth-round pick for Hall. That's not nothing, but the Jets wouldn't take it. They were only interested in the top 100 selection, and Brett Veach wasn't about to give that up for a running back coming off injury, already staring at a second contract. From a long-term roster standpoint, it makes sense. You don't pay premium capital for a position you can fill by committee, especially when Isaiah Pacheco is healthy. But still, that offer shows Veach tried to upgrade the backfield. Then there's Jermaine Johnson, another Jet. Evidently, Kansas City checked in there, too. Now, Johnson's a solid player, but he's not exactly a Chiefs-style guy, not the kind of locker room presence or scheme fit Steve Spagnuolo usually targets. Some insiders even hinted the team didn't love his personality fit. So in the end, no deal. And maybe that's for the best. But the big what-if moment? That's Quinnen Williams. Imagine him lining up next to Chris Jones. That's a front that could wreck any offensive line in football. The issue, though, was the cost. Even if the Chiefs wanted him, fitting that contract under the cap without reworking multiple current deals would have been nearly impossible. And Veach is nothing if not disciplined about cap flexibility. It's painful, but understandable. There was also talk of Bradley Chubb, and that one feels like the one that got away. Miami ended up moving Jalen Phillips instead, and that right there tells you something about fit. Phillips is more of a speed and bend rusher, while Chubb, bigger, more physical, more Spag style, was exactly what the Chiefs could have used. A second-tier pass rusher, sure, but one that could have provided real rotational help. If they could have pulled that off for a third-rounder, that might have been the sweet spot. The fact that they were reportedly in on Chubb, but not on Phillips really says it all. Kansas City wanted a specific archetype, power over flash, fit over name value, and that explains why the front office walked away empty-handed. They weren't just trying to make noise, they were trying to make the right move. They just didn't find one that matched both scheme and price. Still, it's hard not to feel that sting when you watch other contenders, Dallas, Indianapolis, even Buffalo, make impact trades while the Chiefs stand pat. Those deals shift the balance in key matchups, especially with players like Sauce Gardner now helping teams Kansas City will see again. If you think Kansas City should have gone all in for one of those names, hit the like button right now. Let's see how many of us agree. And in the comments, tell me this. Which of those players would you have prioritized, Hall, Chubb, or Quinnen Williams? I'm curious what most of Chiefs Kingdom thinks. Next, We'll talk about why the Chiefs held back, the money, the scheme, and the long-term strategy that's quietly guiding every move they make. It's not exciting, but it might just explain everything. If you're frustrated that the Chiefs didn't pull the trigger on any big trades, I get it. But when you zoom out and look at the way Brett Veach runs this team, it starts to make more sense, even if it doesn't feel good in the moment. This front office isn't afraid to be patient, even when fans are screaming for splashy moves. And that patience is built on three big pillars: the salary cap, roster chemistry, and scheme fit. Let's start with the cap situation. Everyone loves to say, just restructure contracts, but it's not that simple. Players like Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, and even Joe Thuney already have deals that are carefully layered to keep this team stable. Long-term, to fit someone like Quinnen Williams or Sauce Gardner, Kansas City would have had to redo multiple existing contracts, kicking money down the road and risking major flexibility next offseason. That's not how Veach operates. He plays the long game, always leaving room for extensions, not emergencies. Then there's the running back philosophy. Veach and Andy Reid just don't value that position high in trade capital. Offering a fourth-rounder for Breece Hall was already pushing the limit, and it lines up with what the Chiefs have done for years: build the backfield around value and effort, not star names. They believe their system, with Patrick Mahomes, a balanced line, and play design, makes the runner look good, not the other way around. That's why they wouldn't cross that top 100 pick line for a running back, especially one with injuries and a looming contract negotiation. It's not stingy, it's calculated. But maybe the biggest piece is fit, both scheme and locker room. Steve Spagnuolo has a very specific type when it comes to defensive ends and edge rushers. He wants power, discipline, and length. Guys like George Karlaftis, Charles Omenihu, and Mike Dana all fit that mold. A player like Jalen Phillips, who wins with burst and bend, just doesn't match the style. That's not a knock on Phillips, it's just not what Spags builds around. Even with Jermaine Johnson, there were whispers about maturity and locker room vibe concerns. When you're defending a Super Bowl title, you can't risk chemistry issues in November. And that's what this comes down to. The Chiefs weren't desperate. They're still a contender, still efficient on offense, and still developing young defensive talent. They didn't want to break the formula that's worked, even if that meant taking some heat for standing still at the deadline. Still, it's a delicate balance, right? Playing it safe keeps the window open longer, but it can also mean you miss a chance to strike when it's hot. So let me ask you, would you rather Veach preserve cap flexibility for the future, or roll the dice midseason for one more star right now? Drop your take in the comments. And if you appreciate deep dives like this, not just hot takes, but real context, make sure you're subscribed. We're pushing for 6,000 subscribers, and every single click helps us keep doing this for Chiefs fans like you. Next up, we'll shift gears and look forward. If the Chiefs didn't bring in new talent, who steps up now? How do they patch these holes internally? That's what Chapter 4 is all about, the short-term fixes and players who could quietly turn the season around. So, no trades, no splashy moves, no reinforcements flying in to save the day. That means one thing: the Chiefs have to fix this from the inside out. And honestly, that might be the biggest test of Andy Reid's staff this season. Let's talk about who steps up, what adjustments could make the difference, and how Kansas City can still come out of this stretch stronger than before. First, credit where it's due: Mike Pennel. He's quietly been one of those glue guys who can plug gaps when things start to bend. Against Buffalo, he gave them solid snaps up front, the kind that don't show up in stat sheets but absolutely matter on tape. He's strong at the point of attack, helps clog lanes, and lets linebackers stay clean. Pennel isn't a game changer, but he's steady, and right now, steady is what this defense needs. Then there's the name Josh Simmons. He's not a fix for the defense, but his return helps the offensive line settle down and regain rhythm. A stronger offensive front gives Mahomes more time, and more time means fewer panic throws, fewer turnovers, and less pressure on the defense to bail out bad field position. It's all connected. On defense, though, this is where Steve Spagnuolo earns his paycheck. History says he's really good at adjusting after the bye. Every season, he seems to squeeze more out of this group, changing alignments, simplifying reads, getting younger players ready to take on bigger roles. Expect more creative packages, more rotational opportunities for depth guys like Felix Anudike-Uzomah or even Malik Herring. It's about maximizing what you've already got. And let's be honest, there are many free agents left who move the needle. You're not finding a Quinnen Williams sitting on the street in November, so the only path forward is improvement from within. That means discipline, effort, and accountability. The Chiefs don't need miracles, they need execution. Another thing, the bye week couldn't have come at a better time. This roster looks mentally and physically tired. Reid's teams usually come out sharp after the bye, and you could expect a renewed focus, especially on the defensive side. That's when Spags typically tightens coverage rotations and gets everyone on the same page. So here's what I'll be watching for. The run defense improving at the point of attack, linebackers getting downhill faster, and the offense setting the tone early to take pressure off the D. These are the fixes that don't make headlines, but they win games in December. If you're still riding with this team, through the ups, downs, and trade deadline silence, hit that subscribe button right now. We're building something here at Total Chiefs News, and with your help, we can hit 6,000 subscribers before the postseason. And tell me in the comments, who's your dark horse to step up after the bye week? Is it a veteran like Pennell? A young guy like Felix? Maybe even someone unexpected? Drop your pick below. I'll feature a few in the next video. Up next, we'll wrap this up with the big question. After missing out on the trade window, can the Chiefs still salvage this season? Or did they just waste one of Mahomes' best years? Let's talk about it. So here we are. No trade deadline magic, no new stars walking through the door. The Chiefs are rolling into the bye week with the same roster, the same questions, and the same expectations. The only thing left to ask is simple. Can this season still be saved? I think it can, but it's not automatic. Let's be real. This team still has the most important piece in football, Patrick Mahomes playing at an elite level. Even with all the frustration from the Buffalo game, even with the stalled drives and turnover issues, Mahomes is still leading an offense that converts on first down 68% of the time on opening drives. That's efficiency. That's rhythm. The foundation is there. It just needs a little polish. On defense, yeah, there have been cracks. Situational football has cost them. Letting Josh Allen sneak his way through those tush-push moments. Getting gashed by runs that should have been stopped. But none of those issues are fatal. They're fixable. And Spagnuolo's track record after a bye week is exactly why I'm not counting this team out. He has a knack for turning chaos into structure when it matters most. The bigger challenge isn't talent, it's urgency. These guys can't afford to sleepwalk through another stretch. Every snap after the bye has to feel like playoff football. The margin for error is gone, and another couple of losses could turn a Super Bowl defense into a what could have been season. Still, I'm betting on Mahomes, on Reid, and on this locker room. The Chiefs have earned that faith. They faced tougher stretches before, and every single time, they found a way to flip the switch. So no, this isn't a lost season. It's a challenge, the kind championship teams respond to, the kind that tests leadership, depth, and resilience. And the Chiefs still have all three. Before we wrap this up, if you've enjoyed this breakdown, hit subscribe right now and help us reach our goal of 6,000 subscribers. Every new sub helps us keep bringing you real Chiefs talk, without the fluff. And while you're here, give this video a like so more fans can join the conversation. Last question for you, will the Chiefs make the playoffs this year? Drop a simple yes or nitrogen monoxide in the comments and tell me why. I'll feature some of your takes in the next video.